and if you are not caught up on Game of Thrones, do not watch this, because today I'm going to be reviewing Season 6, Episode 7 of Game of Thrones. Alright, so I do have to say this isn't my very favorite episode this season. They've been giving us huge things every single episode, and then this episode was a bit slower in pace. We did get a reveal in the very beginning of the episode, even before the credits, which is the Hound is alive, which we all kind of knew he was gonna be alive, right? This episode was called The Broken Man. In the beginning, we meet like this happy little town of people, and they're friendly and they're non-violent, and we find out that they saved the Hound and brought him back to health, and he's been working with these people ever since. It was a nice little story. I can kind of see why they threw it in this episode. I guess they really wanted to just have the Hound go through this so that he can come back and fight for vengeance. I don't know if he's gonna fight for the good, the greater good, but it's kind of seeming like that's what he's gonna do now, kinda. He definitely can't follow a path of non-violence, but I think he may start fighting for the greater good now, which would be really interesting to see because he's a force to be reckoned with. So it would be really cool to kind of see him team up with someone and help them for the greater good. Maybe even Jon, that would be cool. So we had a really interesting scene with Marjorie and the High Sparrow where he basically tells her, you have to tell your grandmother that she needs to repent because she's super sinful. And then the scene with Marjorie and her grandmother was so fascinating. And I always knew Marjorie had a plan, and I'm so excited to I just want to know what it is, and I want to see it come to fruition. So, you know, she was saying all the things that she was supposed to say. But then, of course, she slipped the piece of paper to her grandmother, showing her, don't worry, I'm still a Tyrell, and I have a plan, which is super interesting. I just love that. I want to know what Marjorie's game is, and she seems to have a plan, and I just really wish that we knew what it was, but I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see how it goes. Either that, or she's just doing everything that she possibly can to stay alive and stay out of jail and to keep her family alive. I loved the scene where Cersei confronts Olenna about the situation that's happening. I totally thought that they were gonna team up and be this really awkward duo and try to, you know, take down the High Sparrow and his followers. So it was really interesting to see Lady Olenna put Cersei in her place and basically blame her for all of this, because it is her fault. I mean, she really was not so smart in the decision-making process for this. So I love that Lady Olenna is the only person that can put Cersei in her place, and it's kind of nice to see because Cersei makes a lot of bad decisions, but she even said it was because she loves her son, and Lady Olenna loves Marjorie, and you know, I was really hoping to see them come together and come up with a plan, but hey, it was still a really cool scene. Then we have Jon and Sansa trying to rally whoever will join their army to be able to take back Winterfell and defeat Ramsay Bolton. I love that the wildlings were on board, of course. I mean, they should be on board. Jon has gone through so much for them and has backed them forever, so it was nice that they were like, sure, yeah, we'll do it. Honestly, I think my favorite scene in the whole episode was where Sansa and Jon met with Lady Liana, who is named after Liana Stark, because the Mormonts have always, you know, been faithful to the Starks, and I loved that this little girl, she was like 10 years old, and she gave them such crap, but I loved in the end, she only had 62 men to give for the war, which is hilarious. So that was really interesting. I mean, the episode was basically just Jon and Sansa trying to rally the North, and the North's like, well, we're tired and don't really want to deal with this anymore. So I'm interested to see where that goes. Honestly, the trailer for next week's episode looks way more entertaining than this week's was. And then Jaime and Bronn show up, I guess, at the weirdest time when last week we had Walder Frey tell the men, go take back Riverrun, it's my castle. So then they try to persuade Brynden Tully, because they have Edmure Tully. They're like, hey, we're gonna kill your nephew here. And he's like, whatever, I don't care, go ahead. And then they don't do it. Jaime shows up and is like, no, feed him and you know, don't treat him like this. And Jaime thinks he's just gonna be able to talk to the black fish. But he's like, nope, sorry, you're gonna have to storm my castle because I was born here and I'm gonna die here. Okay. Then we had a scene with Yara and Theon Greyjoy where she's basically just trying to get Reek out of him because she wants the real Theon Greyjoy back. They're gonna go try to make a pact with Daenerys. So that'll be interesting. I hope they actually get to doing that this season. And then at the very end, we have Arya, who is seeking passage back to Westeros, and you always know something's gonna go wrong on Game of Thrones when everyone's a little too happy. Like the very opening scene with the Hound and these townspeople, they were all super happy and helping each other, and I'm like, they're all gonna be dead. And look what happened to them, they all died. So I knew something was coming with Arya, and I knew it was going to be shocking. So yeah, Arya gets stabbed and falls into the water and gets back out and is walking through the town because she doesn't know if they're gonna still come after her. I mean, okay, they've made their point. You don't mess with the many-faced god. I don't think Arya's gonna die, so no one panic out there. I'm sure there's gonna be lots of panicking tonight, but I don't think anything's gonna happen. I think she'll be fine. Although, could you imagine if they actually did kill off Arya on the show? People would riot. People would be devastated and they'd be freaking out. I think they would lose a lot of viewers if they attempted to do that. But I do think it was a really cool scene. Overall, this episode just wasn't as fascinating or as entertaining as previous episodes. Again, it's just another building up, putting the pieces in place so that these characters can go start doing things, which makes sense. I mean, it's true, you need to build an army before you can go and take back Winterfell, so it all makes sense. Every single episode this season has been so killer and I've loved it. And this was the first week I was like, well, all right, it was an episode, but we only have 3 more episodes left until the end of this season. And now apparently there's only like 14 more episodes of the entire series. So next season's probably only going to be 7 episodes, and then season 8's gonna be 6 episodes. I hope not. It doesn't make sense. So there you go. Those are my thoughts. I think next week's episode is going to be so interesting because the trailer for next week looked really, really good. And we get a lot of characters. Hopefully more Tyrion. Where has he been this entire season? Let's go. I want more Tyrion. But I want to know from you guys what you think of the episode. And we only have 3 episodes left. What are they gonna do? I am so curious to hear from you guys. What do you think they're gonna even accomplish this season? It's so crazy. This Game of Thrones just flies by. I hate how quickly it goes. But let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.